Hello everyone, this is Burak Yoga. I'm the founder of Forceget Digital Freight Forwarder. Today's video, I will be explaining you how to import toys into the United States of America. Let's get started. So the first question is, why the toys are strictly controlled by the government? The answer to that is 2022, the total sales of the toys in the United States was $29.2 billion. And one of the largest part was $5.2 billion large outdoor toys. This is why it's regulated very strictly, because there are a lot of dangerous small parts for the children. So who regulates these import rules? It is regulated by the CPSI, Consumer Product Safety Import Act. It's the part of the Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC. So these regulations are made by the US government, and it has to be strictly followed by the toy importers. When it comes to understand what kind of products are actually subject to these regulations, there are 4 questions that we should be actually asking. Number 1, are the goods marketed as being suitable or appropriate for children aged 12 or under? Does the packing present the goods as suitable or appropriate for children of 12 or under to use or play with? Will the retail display or the online retailer for the goods present them as being appropriate or suitable for children of 12 or under? Is the product generally recognized as a toy or something designed and targeting mainly children of 12 or under? So if one of the questions that your answer is yes, that these products are considered as children's product and toys, and these are subject to the regulations of the CPSIA. So the question is, what kind of products are actually considered as toys and children's product? So there are actually 3 age of category, from 0 to 3 years old, 3 to 6 years old, and 6 to 12 years old. So anything below 12 years old, toys, ride-on vehicles, furniture, clothes, fashion accessories, and toys, they all considered as toys category. So you should be careful about the product that you will be importing, whether it should fall under the toy category or not. There are a few important things to consider for the CPSIA's approval. What are these? Products have to comply with all the relevant safety regulations, have undergone laboratory testing to prove it. Goods also have to have children's product certificate accompany them for import, showing that they are approved for the sale in the United States of America. Products must have a tracking label attached to the packing and potentially the product itself. You need to follow labeling requirements, manufacturers and importers data, materials used in the product. There are some states they are looking for local licensing and labeling requirements, such as Pennsylvania, Michigan. There are additional requirements that must be followed depending on the states in which the product is to be sold. There are a couple of more other important things to consider for the CPSIA's approval. To sell the products, it's necessary to add the product registration card. This applies to products made for children under 5 years old. It must contain all manufacturing and manufacturer data. It must include a prepaid shipping label to be used by the buyer. Products must contain choking hazard label, in case there are tiny pieces and not into child age range that they are safe for. All toys and children's products sold in the United States, wherever they were manufactured, go through third-party testing before they could be sold. It has to be CPSC's accredited laboratories. Toys and children's products will be tested to ensure that they don't contain banned substances, are not highly flammable, are durable, and do not pose a choking hazard or other potential risks. There are 2 important tips I would like to give you before you consider start importing the toys and children's products to the United States of America. Number 1, finding and working with the right freight forwarder. The right type of freight forwarder can help you with the guidance of correct labeling, test reports, custom clearance, and insurance questions. Before you place your order, speak to your freight forwarder and ask them the right questions, whether they have the experience of shipping and handling the custom clearance and last mile delivery of the toys and children's product. The second tip will be finding the right supplier. There are a lot of great suppliers in China, Turkey, India, Pakistan, all around the world manufactures toys and children's products. However, what are the criteria that you should be considering before you place the order? Number one, asking them whether they have the experience of exporting toys and children's products to the United States or to your market. If they don't have the experience, I highly recommend you to avoid that kind of supplier. Before the fourth quarter, especially because this is a high demand product, there are a lot of trade companies also like to sell these products to make extra profit. However, if you're thinking to import the toys in the long term, and if you want to make this a serious business, I highly recommend you to work with the correct trade companies or factories who have the experience of manufacturing toys and children's products for long years. There are a few questions that you could be asking your supplier to help you with. Number one, what type of marketplaces they are shipping the products? Do they sell directly online or offline? If yes, you can ask of their storefront names, their marketplaces, their business names to check if they have good reviews or not. The second thing is the test reports. Every manufacturer has to comply the test reports before they ship the products. So they can actually share with you the test reports that they actually did it in the past with different clients, with hiding the client information. So this way you can understand that their products were actually past the qualification test and they're ready to export to different countries. So test reports can explain a lot of different things. What kind of exhibitions and trade shows that they're joining? If they're a professional toy or children's product manufacturer, they should be going to the worldwide different events. So you can actually go visit their booths remotely or in person. So this way you can understand what kind of product they actually manufacture and if the quality is good or not. If your supplier has ISO report, so ISO is an international standard of production products that they have to match with the quality standards. So if they have an ISO or different manufacturing test reports or certificates, you should definitely get them to check if they're qualified for the standard of the product that you're looking for. I highly recommend you to work with the independent third-party inspection company, such as SGS or many other companies in the world. They can go and inspect the products, they can take the samples, they can test it even before you place the big orders. There are a lot of companies are actually making this mistake. They put the deposit down, the product is manufactured, and after that the product has not been passed the test qualifications. So it means that you have to either remake the product, you might lose your deposit, maybe the factory is not willing to give you the money back, so there could be a lot of challenges. So I highly recommend you to find a third-party inspection company. You can send them to the inspection to the factory or the trading company, take the samples, test the product, and when you place the order, you have to make a contract with them to make sure that your product standards are the same as the one you get the test sample from the factory or the trading companies. I see there are a lot of challenges sometimes or problems that the samples that you get could be sometimes different than the final production. So in order to avoid that kind of problem, I highly recommend to have a contract, making sure that you minimize the amount of deposit you send to the factories, and even you can negotiate the balance payment after you receive the goods at the destination, or even against bill of lading. So this way the factory can make sure that they give you the product qualifications and the correct test reports so that they can help you to do the custom clearance. Otherwise, if you pay them 100% in advance, obviously some factories work only this way, then they will not have any liability in case the product has been rejected by the destination custom. Hopefully you find the right supplier, and when the production is finished, you're ready to ship the products. So here's another challenge, finding the right freight forwarder and the right shipping process. So the international shipping obviously is two main ideas. Number one is the ocean freight, number two the air freight. So during the fourth quarter, we see a lot of delays with the international shippings, especially with the ocean freight. So that's why some of the customers, they consider to ship partially by air, partially by ocean. So the freight forwarder you're working with should be also experienced shipping the toys products, because sometimes the toy products can be fragile and they need to be packed well, sometimes palletized well, and you also need to speak to your supplier to use the sturdy and reliable packing material that the product is not being damaged during the international shipping or the last mile delivery to your customers. So choosing the right freight forwarder, you can ask them whether they have the NVOCC license, if they're WCA member or any other insurance that they're using. and they have overseas offices, they have any digital platform or international tracking services. So these are a couple of questions that you can ask your freight forwarder to make sure that you will get the great customer service for your international shipments. Custom clearance, I highly recommend to speak to your custom clearance to make sure what kind of documentation do you need. Generally, we need packing list, commercial invoice. Sometimes some countries require country of origin. It is a proof of where the products are made, and the supplier can make that document together with your freight forwarder and send it to you alongside with the other documentations. And the custom clearance agent needs to make sure that the labeling is correct. The last thing I need to be warning you is about the understanding the labeling requirements and making sure that you have the correct labeling on the product outside of carton box. There's few other testing ways of choosing the right type of packaging. I highly recommend you to do a drop test for the mustard cartons. You can actually require the factory to do a drop test, fully packed mustard carton from 3 or 4 feet, and then open the product, take the picture, take the video, making sure that products are actually in good conditions. This way you will be ensured that the product can safe to the destination clearly and safely.